Good afternoon. I'm Jill Malandrino, Global Markets Reporter at Nasdaq. And for this edition of Trade Talks, we are taking it north of the border to Canada. And sorry, folks, we don't have Justin Trudeau joining us, but we have another rock star from north of the border from Nasdaq, Mike Taylor, who's Director of Data Sales Americas. Thank you so much for joining us in New York at the Nasdaq market site. And we want to learn more about the Canadian business. So if you can tell us, why did Nasdaq acquire Chi-X in Canada?
So Nasdaq acquired Chi-X Canada for a number of reasons. I think there was a huge opportunity to expand their global footprint. Chi-X Canada was a big market player in Canada, doing about 20% market share by volume in terms of trading. So they thought it would be a good opportunity to expand the footprint and buy a venue that had a strong presence in Canada.
Well, at Nasdaq, we have a very unique culture. How does Chi-X fit into that?
So Chi-X fits into the culture because we really focus on technology, as Nasdaq does, and we are also focused on our clients. They're obviously a very important part of the business. So the focus is on the clients mostly.
Right. And so what is Nasdaq's position like in the Canadian marketplace?
So Nasdaq's position in the Canadian marketplace across a few streams, we're up there in terms of equity trading, where we operate 3 different markets: Nasdaq CXC, Nasdaq CX2, Nasdaq CXD. Nasdaq CXC is a regular market, maker-taker pricing model, and it's strict price time priority. Nasdaq CX2 was launched for the retail side of the business. It has an inverted pricing model. It has broker preferencing, which is a key factor up in Canada, where brokers take precedent over other orders in the book. And so it's a broker price time priority in terms of CX2. And then Nasdaq CXD was launched very recently. It's a full dark pool, and it competes with other dark pools in Canada. CX2 and CXC both have dark order types, but there are certain rules that prevent a lot of dark trading on those venues, so we decided that it was a good opportunity to launch CXC, a full dark pool.
Let's look at the bigger macro picture. Do you think Canadian markets will continue to flourish? You have a little bit of the overhang with Brexit on the horizon, and of course the IPO market has been a little bit quiet this year.
Yeah, definitely. You know what? Both of those are huge factors in Canada, but the Canadian marketplace has a lot to offer. We are a very resource-centric market, as well as we have very strong financials in our pension plans and our big banks. So as much as those will affect us, I think there's lots of opportunity in Canada. We also have very strong fintech. There's a number of very reputable universities that produce a lot of talent in a number of sectors. So I think we'll always have the opportunity to compete and push forward with resources and financials and the people that we have out there.
So speaking of competing, how competitive is CXC to the Toronto Exchange?
So Nasdaq CXC is competitive on a number of different streams. Data, certainly, and then in terms of percentage of at the bid and ask, we are above 99%. Last sale is 98.89%. In terms of costs, it's about 60% less than the Toronto Stock Exchange for their data. So in that respect, and we do about 25% of the volume in Canada. In fact, yesterday we had a record day where we were over 30% market share. So we did about 1 in 3 trades on one of our venues. So it is competitive, and I think we're even getting more and more competitive.
Yeah, it sounds like that traction is really picking up quite quickly.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you know what? There's a lot of offering that we have and synergies that we can do. When Nasdaq came in, a big global name, I think a lot of people were looking at that, and it's a great spot for Nasdaq in terms of competing with the incumbent.
Well, to wrap up, what's the marketplace reaction been to CXC? How are they receiving it?
So the reaction from our clients has been very positive. Mm-hmm. They look at Nasdaq as a huge global player. Prior to Nasdaq coming in, it was the TMX and then a bunch of smaller relatively unknown venues. Chi-X Canada had a great reputation globally, but Nasdaq brings a pretty large brand and a big global presence. So the clients were very excited about the fact that Nasdaq was coming in. They were interested in what other areas of the business that they were going to touch on. They bought a franchise that had equity trading, but there's also a number of other areas that they could look at. There's derivatives that could be an opportunity down the road. There's listings venue that could also be an opportunity down the road. So buying Chi-X Canada was a great opportunity to get into the equity market, but as well we can expand on that and go beyond what it is today.
All right, well, it sounds like we'll be having you back here shortly.
Sounds good.
All right, well, thank you very much, Mike. And thank you, as always, for checking out Trade Talks. I'm Joe Malandrino, Global Markets Reporter at Nasdaq.